The school system doesn't allow you to grow up and explore your individuality or your passions. It forces you into a beeline or a damn assembly line of employees built to assist the structure of this country to stay in place because the people who have money want to keep it, and those families are already determined. Like the billionaires and these companies are already determined. This country is run off the backs of poor people and middle class people who are trying to figure out how to be successful traditionally because they have lost the idea that they could be successful personally.
What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the Fatherhood Village podcast, the official home for proud fathers and mentors. We're excited to have you with us again for another episode. I'm Dale Holloway, as always, with my boy, Kevin Hick. What's going on with you? How you feeling right now?
Oh man, peace and love, baby. I'm blessed, dude. No complaints.
Good. Love hearing it, man. So today we got a conversation about homeschool versus traditional school. Something that I've been kind of putting a lot more attention and mind energy towards because of the ages of my children. I'm sure you've done some of that as well.
Right.
And I think even when I was younger, I think my mom toyed with the idea of homeschooling me for her own reasons. But with seeing how the traditional style school, the conventional school setup, and hasn't changed much at all since generations in the past, is, for example, our mother and father and other people of the neighborhood, it just seems as if it's outdated. A lot of it's not tailored to how society is today, the things and the problems that that are paramount at
Absolutely.
this day and age. The way the economy's set up, the way things are industrialized and structured, they're not really setting a lot of children up for entrepreneurship. Everyone has to be an employee at all
Yeah.
times, and that doesn't fit into a lot of people's psyche and their persona, things of that nature. And it's so much that's left out when these children
hmm
become adults, and
Absolutely.
they're still coming to their parents at the end of the day or some other outlet to figure these things out. Some left to do it on their own. So, we want to get your take, and definitely I'll add to it. But your take on, as we start off, what's your take on traditional schools and the public school system right now?
I think that to be quite honest, man, the school system is fucked up.
Yeah.
We have a 200-year-old curriculum teaching 200-year-old history to babies who have no connection to any of that shit. Yes, it's true that to get where we're going, we have to know where we've been, right? We there's the cliches exist in many different forms for that, but at the same time, we have to know where we're trying to go first, and we have no direction educationally, especially in this country. Our only goal seems to be to compete with other countries for wealth building, as a country. And so what we do is we raise a country up of employees, easy to manage employees, easy to manipulate people. We don't raise entrepreneurs, strong minds, independent thinkers, visionaries. Like the things that built this world, the ideas and the types of minds that this world was created, like are not this world was created, but like this world was built on. The societies were built on the visionaries and the elevated thinkers that we've had, the Einsteins, the Teslas, all of these people who've contributed, among other thousands, right? But all of these people were known for their mental capacities, who just blazed their own trail. We're not building a society of those people. Uh, you know, um, w- the George Washington Carvers, the like pick a person in history, black, white, or indifferent. Man, there were great minds who were blazing trails, and we don't necessarily blaze trails anymore. Um, Everything is kind of cookie cutter, and we all coming from the same boxed in quarantine system of education that is based on us becoming worker bees for someone's pocketbooks. It's not about training the mind of a child anymore. It's about training the idea of success. And we're so married to this idea that success is the big job that you get. Success is the paycheck that you get. Success
Mhm.
is the prestige or what your badge says, the letters behind or in front of your name. We build that level of 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 almost unawareness, of personal unawareness in our children and people as they grow up. And so people don't know who they are. They don't know what they want to do spiritually, energetically. They don't even have an idea of what type of legacy they will want. All they know is they want to be successful. And in this country, the American dream is a house and a car and a big name on your badge or some kind of prestige behind your job. That's the American dream, or at
Mhm.
least that's what's sold to us. And so the education system is definitely the thing that moves that and that motivates people to chase things that are outside of their passions and outside of their true spiritual loves. And it builds in us a mundane existence, man. One where we don't really know how to be happy. We only know how to be traditionally successful. And I think the education system is some bullshit. I'm training my son to be happy first, to live life functionally first. And so I'm all with you on this education thing, man. I think that there needs to be a revamping where we nurture the minds and the self awareness and the self esteem and the self concept of these children before we nurture the dream that Shakespeare knows more about music than you can ever know.
Yeah.
Right? It sets limitations on us when we think that all these people in history are the only people that ever got it right, and they are history. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Right.
they present these people like we can't create history, like we're not creating it every day. And I think it's just foolish the way we set this whole thing up.
Yeah. And the fact that it's kind of based on pass and fail, as if failure isn't a part of success.
Oh my
Like it
God,
isn't a
it is.
part of life. Right. Things go upside down at times. It's about how you recover. But I think these teachers, they don't spend a lot of time with the failures. They don't spend a lot of time with those that struggle to achieve and find a challenge, or find it challenging to keep pace, because a lot of it comes down to their way of learning.
Right,
The different concepts and ideas that they teach don't always sync to everyone at the same time. So I don't think they account for that. And like I said, if you don't get it this way, then you're not going to get it at all. And like I said, a lot of these textbooks are old, old information, old ways of thinking. They're not open to new concept, new ideas, new strategies, because I believe all of these students are much capable of achieving a lot of things. But it's tough for the schools to identify that, because that's not what their curriculum is based on. It's not what their ideas, ideologies are consisting of. So they're left to struggle. And
absolutely.
so I just think they need to pay a lot more attention to that. And like you said, it goes back to changing this whole, the whole idea of school. What
Yeah,
school is, what should it teach our children, how should it prepare them for life, and down several different avenues, and how to
yeah,
overcome failure, and how to accept failure, and how to move on. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
To your point, I'm sorry. To your point, like there's not any consideration at all for the different types of minds. The school structure is built for one type of mind, right? The school curriculum is built on logical and mathematical intelligence, right? So if that's not your gift, right, then you don't do as well. You become a B, C, D, even an F student in that form, right? In that realm. But there are seven different types of intelligence, man. Seven, right? I'm gonna list them because sometimes I got to remind myself of when I feel like, oh man, I wish I was better at math. Shit, you kind of get down on yourself. I remember not feeling like I was smart because I didn't have the type of intelligence that was required of me at the time.
Mhm.
And they will let you do that. They will steal your self-awareness, steal your self-concept and your self-esteem, and compare you to somebody who's just gifted in a different way, right? I'm
Mhm.
6'2". I can't be 5'9" if I wake up tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
can be 6'2", and the 5'9" can't wake up tomorrow at 6'2". But somehow or another, I'm supposed to wake up and be a damn mathematician or a science genius when I'm an athlete. I have the body or the kinesthetic intelligence, right? Like it's different. So there's a linguistic intelligence, there's mathematical and logical. That's one actually. There's the bodily intelligence, there's spatial intelligence, there's musical intelligence, there's interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligence, right? So if my
Mhm.
gift is intrapersonal and interpersonal intelligence, which it is, in the school system, there's nowhere to put me that
Yeah,
I can thrive because
yeah.
the thing that I do best is relate to myself and relate to others. Where do I go to get an A? Where's that class? You
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
I learned that I'm insignificant. I learned that I'm less than if I can't find a way to function at a high level in the mathematical, logical intelligence realm. And that's
Mhm.
the only thing that's measured. Right. And
Right.
so the school system doesn't allow you to grow up and explore your individuality or your passions. It forces you into a beeline or a damn assembly line of employees built to assist the structure of this country to stay in place because the people who have money want to keep it, and those families are already determined. Like the billionaires
Mm.
and these companies are already determined. This country's run off the backs of poor people and middle class people who are trying to figure out how to be successful traditionally because they have lost the idea that they can be successful personally,
Yeah.
right? That success is defined by each person. So, with my kids, man, homeschooling is like it's a huge opportunity for us. I'm looking forward for the opportunity to homeschool my son. He's 5. I want him to get acclimated. I want him to be social. So he's gonna probably be in school till about the second grade, and then we're pulling him. The plan is to pull him and start to train his mind, start to train his passion, start to train his individuality, so he can go explore a passion, something he cares about, something that moves him and motivates him, instead of the idea that if he doesn't have a certain prefix before his name on a badge, that he's not successful, or if he doesn't make this amount of money, he's not successful. You have to define success for yourself. And I think that the school system can't train you to do that. And as parents, again, as fathers, that's our job to define success in a way that benefits our children and their form of intelligence.
Yes. Yes. Very true. And we haven't enrolled our children in the school. I believe my daughter, which is 4 years old, I think at this age, is it Head Start or preschool? Um,
Preschool Head Start. It's Head Start right now, I think.
okay. Yeah, until she reaches 5. I think she was eligible.
No, it's preschool. I'm sorry, preschool.
Is it preschool now?
Right now,
Okay.
she's preschool. Head Start, I think, is before preschool.
Okay. Okay. So with that, I've always envisioned homeschool, but traditional school just based on the fact that both parents work, we kind of toggle with that a little bit. But my heart, as I said, was homeschool. I didn't want our children, at least at a young age, being a part of that school system. I wanted them to kind of be able to think on their own, think for themselves, on on a much higher level than their peers. Receiving information at such an early age where all you know is what was taught to you by teachers you barely know. As opposed to coming to uh, from your parents.
Head Start comes right before kindergarten. So scratch the correction I made. I was right the first time. It's preschool, Head Start, kindergarten. So I
Is
said
it?
that wrong. Yeah, it's preschool head because I went to Head Start in kindergarten. So Head Start is right before kindergarten. So she
Yeah.
would be in Head Start right now, not preschool. Preschool is for 3 year olds, Head Start's for 4 year olds, kindergarten's for 5 year olds.
Okay.
So scratch
Okay.
my first like, niggas giving false information. Do his homework.
Right. Fuck wrong with cuz.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, just receiving that information from those uh that, like I said, are getting paid to recite and to publicize all this old dated information and ideas, and not learn the basics and fundamentals from their parents.
Of life, though.
Right, of life.
Yeah.
So, with us being more informed, having the backgrounds that we have, and for us to continue to update our children when these answers may change, or develop a more structured answer as it comes to us, I think is important, because, like I said, they learn things one way when it may change. Like I said, this information age is fast paced. It's everlasting. It's continual. It's a cycle, and it just keeps going. So I just thought that I didn't, like I said, it just goes back to, I don't know what my children are learning or being exposed to when I'm not there to know, or if I have a difference in something or the answer is completely wrong. I can't really educate them on that, because if they learn from us and it conflicts with the answers in school, then they're going to get grades to reflect that they have the wrong information based on the curriculum or the answers. But I'd rather have my wife not work, if that's what's going to help us in that manner. And because my wife, she wanted to continue school anyway. So as of right now, our children are not in traditional school, not in the public school system right now. But they wanted to be. At least my daughter, she wanted to be like the friends that she met. Wanted to. I want to go to school, mommy. I want to.
Look,
You
man,
know.
they all want to be at first. And that's the funny thing about it. My 5 year old, he's a year in front of your kid, man. And, God, dude, I couldn't wait to let him experience it because like I remember I didn't like school at all. And because I'm an independent thinker, I'm just a strong mind, right? And I
Mhm.
always had my own way and I always had my own passions, and the book reports were never what I liked. The assignment was never my interest. It was just always somebody who was irrelevant to my life and the way I understood life to function. And I was supposed to do a report on this. I learned this thing that didn't have anything to do with the life I was or my challenges. So my son was, I want friends. I want to go to school and I want some friends. He was so gun ho about getting to kindergarten. You couldn't tell him nothing. If we wanted him to behave himself, we'd be like, "Hey, you want to go to kindergarten, don't you?" Like he
Right.
he really wanted to go to kindergarten. Man, listen,
Right.
the first day I sent him to kindergarten, he was happy. He was ecstatic. He was jumping up and down. He was almost about to cry because he was so happy. I picked him up after that first day. He was fucking done with kindergarten.
Nice.
And he been done. He been done ever since. He's just reached his 100th day in kindergarten, and damn it, he's still done. Every day he tell me how much he don't want to go back to school. He
Wow.
can't wait to be home. He cannot
Mm.
wait to be homeschooled because he feels it crushing his uniqueness. Even a 5 year old can feel that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he feels the confinement that is the structure of our school system. It's so old, it's so dated. Man, they tested him on this. On his first day of school, he had a damn standardized test. about shit that he hadn't even experienced yet.
Mm.
It's like, oh, well, this is a third grade readiness test. Well, he's in kindergarten. Why the hell does he have to be ready for third grade? What is this?
Right.
Is he on pace to be on third grade? How would you know if you haven't taught him a damn thing yet? Like,
Yeah.
oh, and then and on top of that, the public school system now offers the beliefs that your child's supposed to have. So maybe we're conservative, maybe we're
Mm.
liberal, but God, let us be that. Why can't I
Mhm.
raise my son to be what I want him to be? Why do you have to force sexuality on him, or the acknowledgement of sexuality? Why does he have to pretend to agree or acknowledge alternative ways of living just because a kid might come and be unique? I'm gonna teach my son to respect people who are unique. I don't need you teaching him that that shit's normal, though. There's a difference between tolerating something and normalizing something, especially if it goes against the values of my family. And you can't even get away from that in the public school system no more. Your kid might go to school with a kid that cross dresses or something like that. And hell, to each his own. And if them parents want to let that kid explore sexuality at 5 and 6 and 8, man, listen, that's their thing. I don't agree with it, but hey, that's their thing, right? And I respect that. But don't force it on my kid. Don't force my kid to believe things because you think they're right, right? And I think that no matter what the belief system is, whether you're super liberal or super conservatives, your kid's supposed to be getting the beliefs from the household they have, and they live in, not the school system. I don't want no teacher trying to dictate what my son believes in, whether he has faith or not, whether he is a patriot or not, whether he is a open sexually, to alternative sexualities or not. Like this school system has overstepped in every way possible, and I think that it's important at some point to at least explore homeschooling, and that way, you can get the curriculum because they will force it on you. You have to teach a kid that bullshit, but you can also teach a kid about life if they're at home and you're a dedicated father or a mother. And so that's kind of what we want to do is give him the social experiment. Let him acclimate to being in crowds and being around people, so he's not different or awkward around people. But we want to teach him our beliefs. We want to teach him our standards of living. We want to teach him our values, our core values as a family.
Yeah. Definitely important. You got to get that, especially early childhood development as it goes. It's far more important, I believe, to learn those values, those things in the home. That's the place you're going to spend most of your time. The people that you love and care about you the most under one roof. What better situation to have? So, but I think, when it comes to pros and cons, I think there's far more pros with homeschooling than there is in a traditional school. People probably may see challenges with social interaction. I think there's so many ways around that. I think, like I said, there's so many extracurricular things that kids can be involved in that
Absolutely,
are
absolutely.
that are a part of the community, that are part of the surrounding area. I think that's easy. I don't think the socialism issue is big. I think, like I said, what they have to establish first, self identity, how they feel about themselves.
Absolutely.
What are their thoughts? You know what I mean when it comes to them as an individual. So I think once that's established, then you can start bringing other people around them. Once they're sure, or at least more sure about themselves.
Well, I think that I don't mean to cut you off, but you that's a great point. And that was something that I battled with, and we did a little research on, because we had to jump into this school conversation. Like you're approaching it, and it's like we were so worried about, and I'm still like my priority is that my sons are stable and they self-loving, right?
Mm,
And so, when we looked into it, and I'm a big psychology buff. I kind of studied that field just in my hobbies. Like that's the thing I love to do. I approach all my videos from a psychology perspective. Um, a child's self concept is actually formed between about the ages of 4 and 7, five
okay.
and seven. So between kindergarten and like second grade, you know what I'm saying? A child is kind of determining who they are, and then from that awareness, they develop, how they perceive themselves and things of that nature. But it starts between about the ages of 5 and 7. And so it's like from, 1 to 4, they're just discovering stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like words, phrases, meanings, alternate meanings, reading between the lines, tone, all of those things. But from
Mm,
about 5 to 7, they're figuring out whether or not they're loved, whether or not they're cared for, whether or not they're valuable, right? The details aren't really filled in because they don't have the wherewithal and the knowledge to understand what that all means, right? But about 7 to 9, that's when they're determining for themselves who they're going to be and what they are. And so there is some leeway. You do have some time, and so that was one of my bigger issues because I was like, I'm not sending my son to school if he's going to be told who he is. After between 5 to 7, they do get a self concept. He's learning whether or not he's adequate or not. That's frustrating because that's something that is always challenged because the teacher loves, giving me a report on what my son does or doesn't do. And so we
mm,
make sure that anytime it's a negative report that we explain it to him, and then we reinforce who he really is to him. And it's a battle. It's a constant battle when you're in a public school system. So, we're gonna try to stick it out to grade 2 because we still got some room to, correct any issues or damage. Uh, but damn, it's a hard thing to wrap your head around. Like I said, I didn't mean to cut you out, man, but
oh no.
trying to just hit that timeline perfect where you get him socially acclimated and also have a healthy concept, a self concept that's determined by y'all family. It's a fine line, and I'm not sure if there's a perfect way to do it. There's a perfect timeline, right?
Yeah.
But there are some high level social interactions, and I think that extracurriculars, basketball teams, pee wee, this or that. My son's in gymnastics. That stuff helps,
Hmm.
but he has to thrive in something to build a self concept of pride, and
Right.
he also has to learn how to fail. So there's a
Yeah.
fine balance that if you protect him from too much, you build an asshole.
Yeah. True. True. I can see that. I can see that. That was something I also wanted to hit on with just kind of weighing the pros and cons. And obviously, there are going to be cons to the homeschooling thing too. So, but like I said, I just think in my own belief, there's far less than, traditional school
Absolutely.
cons, as far as them wanting to be accepted or at least to feel, like you said, adequate as a normal child, as a normal member of society. They're going to get picked on, bullied. They're going to be cliques. They're not going to feel like they're, accepted amongst who they want to be accepted by. They're going to get teased and, all kind of things, outcasted for whatever reason. People going to make fun of them. They're going to experience all that. And then eventually in life, you got to deal with it, whether
Absolutely.
it's early or whenever. But I just think once they have that strong sense of self, it takes a lot more to break them down, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just think, like I said, as long as we're pumping them with the 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 encouragement, praising them, building their strength all the way around the board, like I said, is vital. It's vital to their success
Mhm.
socially and
Absolutely.
their confidence moving forward.
And I think that there might be a concept of failure management that we discuss one day. Like you say, I think you brought it up earlier that the way the school system is kind of a pass or fail basis. It doesn't build in itself room to grow from failure as much, right? Because if you get an
Hmm.
F, your grade drops and it just sucks. You don't get to thrive in the like the rehabilitation of learning something or developing something that you were weak at. You don't get to thrive in conquering that thing that held you down for so long. So
Hmm.
your grade is ultimately a D or a C for making an improvement on an F, right? But
Hmm.
in life, man, like that failure is way more important and way more vital to your development than that A. In life, when you can overcome a failure, when you can overcome trying something, doing your best and still not accomplishing it, and you can make the adjustments, and then you can see yourself win, you can see yourself conquer something or overcome an obstacle, you become so much more stellar and you thrive so much harder than if you did it and it worked the first time. You don't build
Mm,
resiliency, you don't build strength, you don't build any character, right? Say tribulation builds character.
yeah.
So, when you talking about, I just made up the concept, but failure management is something that is a very active idea in my head for my son. I want him to suck his shit. I want him to go out and disappoint himself. And I want him to figure that shit out. And I'm gonna support him. I'm gonna cheerlead him. I'm gonna be his friend. I'm gonna be his coach, his teacher. And he's gonna figure that shit out. And then he's gonna feel accomplished. He's gonna feel like he can overcome. And the ability to overcome is so important for life. Like it
Right.
just that's the biggest life skill that you can get from going to traditional school or just being challenged in life, whether it's sports or anything. It's learning to overcome. And with homeschool, you have to strategically place the the opportunities to either fail or succeed, so that the child doesn't ultimately just get their ass kissed, just win, and then get smacked in the face with a failure and not know how to overcome it when it's too late for you to develop that in them. It's
Hmm.
such a, like I said, it's such a fine line, but I think that your idea about it is spot on, man. Like you got to nurture in them some strength, some self-esteem, some self-awareness, and then at the perfect time, you have to allow that to be tested, and they need to feel what it feels like to disappoint themselves, not necessarily a parent, but themselves.
Right.
And that self-concept, overcoming that is just it's a priceless asset to who they become, man. So sometimes they can't be developed in school because you can't control those factors in the environment.
Yeah.
Sometimes kids overexposed to failure or rejection, or judgment. And that's my worry about my son, is that his teacher's a little bit hard on him. And she's not. She's just a little. She's stern as hell, and no matter what the hell, she's stern as hell with everybody. But when he's not doing well, he knows it, and he comes home and he can tell you he did bad, because he runs upstairs and he's avoiding, because he knows his little paper is going to have a sad face on it.
Mm,
Sometimes it was shit he could control, sometimes it's not, right? And so I don't want my son feeling inadequate because he didn't get a fucking happy face. I want him to feel, capable. I want him to feel strong. I want him to feel in control. And when he's judged for things that he can't control, and the type of intelligence that he possesses or doesn't, it pisses me the fuck off. And so,
hmm.
like, I cannot wait to pull him out of school, but I also need him to get the structure, because my wife be ran down. He got a 2 year old or a 3 year old and a 5 year old. And look, it's very difficult to not be just too tired to miss the opportunity to teach them. So school does provide a function of structure, especially for a stay-at-home mom who might be by herself, and two kids is too many sometimes, especially
Hmm.
with the way that they act and how much energy that they have. So it can be a big challenge for a mom to have two young kids at the same time. And school does come in handy for supplying a little bit of structure, and if it's monitored very closely, it can be helpful. But overall, I'm pro homeschool over traditional school, and I'm waiting for my son to get to about second grade, and I'm gonna pull him out, and I'll do the same thing with the other one, provided he develops well. But he has his own challenges, so he may have to stay in public school for a while because he has some challenges to overcome. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a big conversation, man. We could talk
Yeah.
about that for 4 hours.
Man, man. But to go back to what you said, that's kind of an interesting concept of failure management. I like that because, for one, some thoughts that came to my mind was, how do our children receive failure? How is
Hmm.
it processed? Do they run from it? Are they interested and curious to finding out how they failed, why they failed, how they can recover,
Yeah.
some of their pitfalls? And like I said, that just comes from learning about themselves. Okay, during this subject, we learned about such and so this way, but I go to this class, teacher is totally different. She's more interactive. She has different ways of us to understand, and
Mhm.
they're more synced in and committed to that. It just happens easier for them. So how can they kind of convert what worked into something that didn't? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I think, like I said, they need to find out about how they react. How can they manage their reaction? How are they going to treat the failure? Is it, don't let it weigh on your conscience so much. It's all about, okay, now we have a new goal. Is how can we reverse this? How can we learn from it? So I just think, as a parent, I like to know more about my kid than the teacher knows. You know what I
Right.
mean? I always want to have the leverage, and I feel like that goes without saying. So if I know how my kid learns, or the way they prefer to learn, and I can teach them in a better way, in a more formidable way than the teacher can, I feel like I'm doing, my job as a parent, as
Mhm.
a more, so I just think, like I said, and it goes for different circumstances, because, like I said, there's times that you need to have the school in place because of what the parents have going on,
Mhm.
and things of that nature. Like I said, it's not always ideal. Uh, doesn't always work with your day to day life to have them homeschooled for whatever reason. So, that's all well and good. I understand that. But, maybe if there was a system to where they went to school for half of the day, or some part of the day, so they can still get what they need, but maybe not be in the school for that long duration of time, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
No,
So,
that makes sense.
yeah. So, but like I said, it's things they're going to learn from both ends, or sometimes be surprised by and have to acclimate to, um, especially when it comes to traditional school. And I don't know, it just, the public school system, especially when it comes to kids having these different vaccinations and screenings and things like that. I don't want to kind of
Mhm.
go into a whole nother topic, but um, it's kind of leading them kind of down the wrong path, because if you're anti vaccinations, or you have your own way of boosting your children's immune system, and preparing them physically, why should you be burdened with not being accepted into a school? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's some bullshit right there.
right.
Especially if all the other kids got vaccinations, and damn it, you ain't got
They
nothing to
getting
worry.
sick. Yeah, they getting sick. And yeah, that too. And,
Yeah.
and they're getting sick from the vaccinations anyway.
If my kid
So,
ain't if my kid got it and your kid got the vaccination, then damn it, ain't he gonna be all right then?
right,
Right.
right.
So, yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. And
I,
go ahead.
I think it's really important to just whether or not your child is homeschooled or publicly schooled. We have a duty as fathers to um, to build in our home a curriculum for our children. I don't give a damn if they go to school, if they don't. The books that shape your child, that and shape their character, need to be assigned by a father, right?
Mm,
Lessons and teachable moments need to be seized and given. um, there's still a life curriculum. I don't give a damn what happens, what type of school structure I ultimately go with, and I think I've outlined it here a few times. My son is learning finance from me. He's
yeah.
learning investment principles from me. He's learning his character development is in me, right? He's learning his morals, his values, his integrity, a man's responsibility, his masculinity, what that looks like. He's learning that shit from me.
Yeah.
I'm not letting the school teach him. And I think if the school starts stepping on my foot, his ass would be out of there before second grade. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
All day.
But
Yeah.
no matter who you are, you gotta build in your child like their personhood and the tools for successful enough personhood, and just personal success, and again defining success for themselves, that they live a life that they love, not just go to a job that they feel important at, but live a life that they love. And you have to teach that to your child because it won't be taught to them.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep, same here. It's a lot that goes into being a parent, man, and sending them out the door, to public spaces. They have to get a lot and have to be prepared for certain things in the real world. And it's our job ultimately to give them everything to
Absolutely.
armor them, protect them with knowledge, with the things that they should be armed with is, as far as day-to-day uh, intellect, that they should have when approaching the real world. So, but but yeah, man. So I don't know when our children will end up in school. I haven't even we haven't even built the long-term plan as far as where we envision them being in the next couple of years. But until then, it's all homeschool. It's all homeschool based, and there's plenty of tools to aid and to help us with that. I know a lot of parents probably feel it's a lot of pressure to make sure that they stay on some type of schedule, on some type of curriculum based on the age. Something to help appropriate the different information and knowledge that they should have or they should be sustaining at a certain age. If you're in a two-parent household, excuse me, just it's a simple conversation. It's something that you can probably reference the school system. Okay, they're learning this. This is their curriculum. How can we add to it? How can we better it? What are some things that are missing that we could, supplement, things of that nature? How can we advance them? How can we, you know, get them to be a lot better than what their kids are learning, or excuse me, what their peers are learning in school? So there's so many advantages, I believe, in the homeschool system that you create. Like I said, it's whatever you want it to be. It's just fascinating and advanced, based on how you envision it. And like I said,
Absolutely.
you can take the field trips. Like I said, you can take them to your job. You don't need a permission slip and all these different things. If you want to have more of a fun, interactive time teaching your children, you make all that happen. So I just think that's such a great side to it and something that really can't be replaced. So, like I said, but yeah, man, it'd be interesting to finally get them, maybe a year's worth of solid homeschooling
Yeah.
and compare them to someone who's been in the same grade that they would be in, or
Oh,
the,
oh man.
maybe they take the
Ho-
same
ho-
type of aptitude test or something.
Homeschool kids by far do a lot better because they have the
Yeah.
one-on-one training, and then you have if the respect is there and the relationship is there, the structure at home for a one-on-one kid is going to be a lot better. That's why I'm excited to take my son out eventually. But it's because he'll get the attention he needs, the one-on-one attention, that even if he does have a deficiency or he has an inadequacy somewhere, I can massage, the skills in him and the abilities in him without destroying his self-esteem. I can expose him to failure, allow him to fail, but coach him into succeeding through that, and conquering
Hmm.
something in a way that a teacher doesn't have the time to do it. A
Right.
teacher's gonna be like, here's your deed, take that to your mama, and he's sad face for the day.
Yeah.
Why I can watch him fail and I can say, well, this is where the mistake you made. If you make this a judgment, if you make this a judgment, then you succeed here, and allow him to maneuver and figure things out without being destroyed from a self-esteem standpoint from day to day,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially failing in front of his peers, feeling inadequate compared to them. The school system teaches you to compare yourself to other kids, and I think that that's very detrimental to anybody's self-esteem. That's why a lot of people, they feel great in high school because they do well, and then they feel like shit in college because people are a lot smarter than college, and the curriculum's a lot harder. And all of a
Right.
sudden, they don't know who they are anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
the comparison system is terrible.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's a great point. They, the environment in their home and the home structure just adds to the point. Like, they're valued, they're appreciated so much more in the house than they are anywhere else. So what better place to learn? What better place to find out about yourself, about your parents. I know it's plenty of conversations I wish I would have had with my parents if I was homeschooled. I think the dialogue be so much more in depth, a lot more intriguing. I can find out more about what they did for for their career, the path they took. I think that would have shaped my mind into what I felt that I could succeed, just by being enlightened from them. So yeah, man. So like I said, the environment is everything. How they feel about their surroundings, who's teaching. Like I said, they don't feel like they're being judged. And, I think they bounce back from failure a lot better. They understand failure is a part of life. You can share those experiences with them that you had, that you experienced. Is so many good things that come from homeschooling, man. And that bond is strengthened so much more, because it's
Absolutely.
coming from the parent, man. You
Mm,
know, and
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, so with that, um, you know, anyone out there that is actively homeschooling their children, share your stories, share how you got started. And probably some insight to your curriculum. What are some things that you're teaching? How is it, shaping your child for the future? We'd love to hear it. That's what it's about, man. Fatherhood Village. We're going to share a lot of that with each other to kind of help enable and empower the community. I think that'd be fun. It's a great conversational starter. So we're going to leave with that one. Anything you want to add to it, Kev?
Oh man, just make sure that as always, you handle your responsibilities to be the teacher, to be the mentor, to be the guide that your child needs, no matter what school system you've chosen. You still have a duty and an obligation, a responsibility and an honor to teach them what's important to you and what should be important to them in life.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, there you have it. Another episode wrapped. Fatherhood Village, man. Catch us on Instagram, Twitter, as always. The descriptions in the box below, man. Get at us. Love to hear from you, and we're gonna keep this thing moving. So until next time, it's your boy Dale Holloway with my man Kev Hick. Peace and love.
It's all good.